Hi, I'm Ria. I never thought I'd be the type to seek revenge, especially against my own sister, but life has a way of pushing you to your limits. It happened 3 weeks ago when I was picking up my boys, Mark and Aiden, from school. Mom, guess what? Emma's having a huge birthday party at Adventureland. 10-year-old Mark bounced next to me, his backpack swinging wildly. Yeah, she told everyone it's gonna have a rock climbing wall and everything. Aiden, my 8-year-old, added with equal enthusiasm. I smiled at their excitement. That sounds amazing. When is it? Next Saturday, Mark said, suddenly quieter. But we're not invited. My smile faded. What do you mean? Emma's your cousin. Aiden kicked at the ground. She said her mom said we can't come. I felt my chest tighten. I'm sure there's been a misunderstanding. Let me call Aunt Lydia tonight. That evening, after tucking the boys in, I called my sister. Hey, Lydia. The boys mentioned Emma's party next weekend. Oh. The single syllable carried a weight of tension. I was going to call you about that. They seem to think they're not invited? Look, Ria. Lydia's voice took on that condescending tone I'd known since childhood. I need to be honest with you. Your boys are a bit much. The last time they were over, they were running wild, climbing on furniture, using outside voices indoors. They're energetic kids, Lydia. They're not— Let me finish, she interrupted. Emma's going through a sensitive phase. She's trying to impress her new friends from her advanced class, and I can't have distractions. Distractions? They're her cousins. You know what I mean, Ria. Some children are just better behaved than others. It reflects the parenting, honestly. The phone nearly slipped from my hand. Are you saying I'm a bad mother? I'm saying your parenting style is different from mine. Emma needs structure, proper influences. Your boys would be disruptive. They would be heartbroken, I said, my voice shaking. They'll survive. Kids are resilient. Her dismissive tone made my blood boil. Listen, I've got to run. Parent committee meeting for Emma's advanced placement program. We can talk later. After she hung up, I sat in stunned silence until my phone buzzed with a text from Olivia, a mutual friend who had children in the same school. Just heard about the party situation. Lydia's telling everyone your boys have behavioral issues. Want to meet for coffee tomorrow? The next morning at Coastal Brew, Olivia slid into the booth across from me. So, she said, stirring her latte, you look like you haven't slept. Would you, if your sister called your kids bad influences? Olivia winced. She's been on a power trip ever since Emma got into that advanced program. But what she's doing isn't just mean. It might actually be against school policy. What do you mean? Well, Olivia leaned closer, lowering her voice despite the cafe noise. She's using the school directory to invite kids from Emma's class, but excluding specific children. The PTA handbook specifically prohibits selective invitations if they're distributed through school channels. I stared at her. Are you sure? Positive. My husband's on the board. Olivia took a sip of her coffee, her eyes never leaving mine. What are you going to do about it? I thought about my boys' disappointed faces, about Lydia's condescending tone, about the years of subtle jabs at my parenting. I don't know yet, I replied, my mind already churning with possibilities. But I'm not letting this slide. Not this time. She actually said that? Greg, Lydia's husband, looked genuinely shocked when I cornered him after dropping the boys at soccer practice. Word for word. She called them bad influences, Greg. He rubbed his neck uncomfortably. Look, you know how she gets with these social things. Emma has been talking about this party for months. And my kids shouldn't be part of it because they're too rowdy. They're children, not criminals. I tried to talk to her, but what? I pressed. She's obsessed with appearances lately. Ever since Emma got into that advanced program, it's like Lydia's building this perfect life to show off. He lowered his voice. Between us, I think she's inviting half those kids just because their parents are connected. Connected how? School board members, local business owners, Dr. Mitchell, whose wife runs that exclusive summer camp. He trailed off, looking guilty. My phone buzzed. A text from another mom, Patricia. Just heard about party drama. Call me ASAP. 20 minutes later, I was sitting in Patricia's immaculate living room. I shouldn't be telling you this, she said, glancing toward her door as if Lydia might burst in. But your sister's been talking about your parenting at PTA meetings, suggesting your boys need special attention and how challenging they must be for teachers. My jaw dropped. She's been what? It started subtle, little comments about different parenting styles. Then last week, she told everyone she couldn't invite your boys to Emma's party because of their behavioral issues and how they might trigger her sensitive daughter. Emma adores her cousins, I exclaimed. They built a fort together last month, and she was laughing the entire time. Patricia nodded. That's not all. She's been using her position as volunteer coordinator to distribute invitations through the school's official channels, which is explicitly against policy if you're not inviting the whole class, or at least all the boys or all the girls. That's what Olivia said too. Mrs. Harrison in the front office mentioned it seemed odd, but Lydia insisted she had permission from the principal. Did she? Patricia's expression answered my question. Not according to Mrs. Diaz, who's been principal for 15 years and knows the rules inside out. I stood up, pacing Patricia's pristine living room. So she's breaking school rules and bad-mouthing my kids to boost her social standing? Essentially, yes. Patricia hesitated. There's one more thing. Emma came over for a play date with my daughter last week. She seemed upset, said she didn't understand why her cousins couldn't come to her party. She mentioned overhearing Lydia telling someone that having your boys there would lower the tone of the event. Something snapped inside me. I need to talk to the principal. What are you planning? Nothing yet, but I'm gathering information. I looked at Patricia intently. Would you be willing to back me up if needed about the invitations through school channels? She nodded without hesitation. Absolutely. What Lydia's doing isn't just unkind. It's creating a toxic environment for all the kids. As I left Patricia's house, my phone rang. It was Olivia again. Hey, she said without preamble. I just got off the phone with Karen from Emma's class. Lydia's been calling parents, specifically telling them not to mention the party around your boys. She's making it sound like there's some kind of threat. This ends now, I said, my resolve hardening. I'm confronting her tonight at Dad's birthday dinner. The tension was palpable as we gathered around Dad's dining table that evening. Lydia arrived last, naturally, making her entrance in a designer dress with Emma in tow. Sorry we're late, she announced to the room. Emma had advanced violin practice. I caught Greg's eye as he mouthed 20 minutes behind her back, confirming my suspicion that the advanced practice was another of Lydia's exaggerations. The dinner progressed with strained conversation until Dad brought up the upcoming weekend. So Emma, I hear you've got a big party coming up. Excited? Before Emma could answer, I interjected. Yes, apparently it's quite exclusive. My boys weren't deemed appropriate guests. The table fell silent. Lydia's eyes narrowed. Ria, this isn't the time or place. When would be a good time, Lydia? When you're done telling the entire PTA that my children have behavioral issues? Or after you finish using school resources to distribute invitations against policy? Dad looked between us, confused. What's going on here? Nothing, Lydia said quickly. Ria's overreacting about a children's party. Am I? I pulled out my phone. Should I read the texts from other parents about how you've been bad-mouthing my kids? Or maybe we should call Principal Diaz about those invitations you distributed claiming you had permission. Lydia's face flushed. You've been spying on me? No, I've been listening to concerned parents who think what you're doing is wrong. It's my daughter's party, Lydia hissed. I decide who comes. Of course you do, I agreed calmly. But you don't get to use school resources to exclude specific children, and you definitely don't get to spread lies about my kids to boost your social standing. Emma looked up at her mother. Mom, why can't Mark and Aiden come? You said they were busy. Lydia shot me a venomous look. They are busy, honey. No, we're not, Mark said from the doorway where he and Aiden had appeared, returning from playing in the yard. We wanted to come to your party, Emma's face fell. You lied to me? Emma, go play with your cousins, Greg said firmly, surprising everyone. But, now please. Once the children had left, Greg turned to his wife. This has gone far enough, Lydia. I told you this would blow up. You're taking her side? Lydia's voice rose. I'm not taking sides. I'm saying what you're doing is wrong. Lydia stood abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor. I will not be attacked in front of my family. Rhea has always been jealous of me, of Emma's achievements. Jealous? I laughed incredulously. I'm proud of Emma. What I'm not okay with is you using her as a status symbol while teaching her to look down on others, including her own cousins. If you report me to the school, Lydia threatened, leaning across the table, I'll make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of troublemakers your boys are. Dad stood up now, his expression stern. That's enough, Lydia. You don't understand what's at stake here. Emma's future is being shaped by watching her mother exclude family and lie, I finished for her. Is that really the lesson you want to teach her? Lydia grabbed her purse. I don't have to listen to this. Emma, we're leaving. As she stormed toward the door, she turned back, pointing a finger at me. If you ruin this party, I swear you'll regret it. I'll make sure your boys never get into any decent program in this district. Don't test me, Rhea. The door slammed behind her, leaving a ringing silence. Greg stayed behind, looking defeated. I'm sorry, Rhea. This isn't right. No, I agreed. It's not, and it stops now. I appreciate you meeting with me on such short notice, Mrs. Diaz, I said, sitting across from the principal in her office Monday morning. Of course, Mrs. Chen. You mentioned concerns about invitation distribution. I placed a folder on her desk. These are screenshots from several parents confirming my sister, Lydia Parker, used school resources to distribute invitations to a private party while explicitly excluding certain children, including her own niece and nephew, and claiming she had your permission to do so. Mrs. Diaz's expression darkened as she reviewed the evidence. I gave no such permission. Our policy is very clear. There's more, I continued. She's been spreading rumors about my children having behavioral issues to justify excluding them, potentially damaging their reputation among teachers and peers. The principal looked genuinely troubled. This is a serious violation of our community standards. I'll need to address this immediately. By Wednesday afternoon, the consequences were swift and decisive. The school board revoked Lydia's volunteer coordinator position, and Adventureland called to inform her that they couldn't host a party organized through improper use of school channels, their own policy to avoid liability issues. When my phone rang that evening and Lydia's name flashed on the screen, I almost didn't answer. What have you done? She demanded when I picked up. I protected my children from your lies, I replied calmly, just like any mother would. The party's canceled. Emma is devastated. Do you have any idea? I do, actually. I know exactly how it feels to see your children hurt. The difference is, my kids were hurt by their own aunt. This is so typical of you, Lydia seethed. You always have to ruin everything. I didn't ruin anything, Lydia. You did that when you decided your social climbing was more important than family. Look, her tone shifted, becoming pleading. I may have overreacted about the boys. They're just energetic. I'm sorry if what I said came across wrong. You're not sorry about what you did. You're sorry you got caught. We're sisters, Rhea. Family. Surely we can work this out. Maybe we could do a small family party for Emma this weekend instead. The boys could come, of course. I almost laughed at her sudden change of heart. No, Lydia, there's no quick fix for this. So that's it? You've made your point. You've embarrassed me in front of the entire school community. Isn't that enough? This wasn't about embarrassing you. It was about standing up for my children. After hanging up, I found the boys building a Lego fortress in the living room. Hey, Mom, Aiden called. We're making a castle with a moat and everything. It looks amazing, I said, sitting down beside them. Listen, I wanted to tell you both something important. You know Aunt Lydia's been saying some not nice things? Mark nodded solemnly. About us being bad kids? Yes. Well, I want you to know that's not true. You're kind, creative, wonderful boys. And I will always, always stand up for you. Is that why Emma's party got canceled? Aiden asked quietly. The party got canceled because Aunt Lydia broke some rules. But it's not your fault or Emma's fault. Is Emma sad? Mark looked concerned. Probably. But I was thinking, maybe we could invite her for a special cousin day this weekend? Just the three of you doing something fun? Their faces lit up at the suggestion. Later, as I was making dinner, Olivia called. Have you heard? The school board is reviewing all volunteer policies because of this. Apparently, Lydia's not the only parent who's been playing social politics with children's parties. I didn't expect it to go that far, I admitted. You did the right thing, Olivia assured me. Some battles are worth fighting, especially when it comes to our kids. As I hung up, I wondered if my sister would ever truly understand what she'd done wrong. Probably not. But I'd shown my boys something important. That they were worth standing up for. That they deserved respect. And that sometimes, the most powerful revenge isn't about hurting others, but about ensuring justice. What would you do if someone tried to make your children feel less than worthy? Would you confront them directly? Or find another way to address the situation? Let me know in the comments below.